I think the increased penalties are critical to the success of the game going forward. So I understand the like frustration that some people have with it, but um, uh, Overwatch is a team sport. Like it is more than a lot of other games. Like this isn't a game that has super high solo carry potential, right? Like in a game with power creep as part of the core loop, like at the end of the game, in a MOBA, if your top laner is like wildly out of control, then like you can just steamroll the other team, and every individual person matters a little bit less, in some of those games. But in Overwatch, solo carrying is like pretty tough. And if somebody leaves, like the potential impact to the overall game is huge. And I'm like a big basketball nerd, so I tend to think about this in terms of like if you're playing a pickup game at the park or whatever. And if you get these 10 people together, you finally get a game going, you're halfway through it, and then somebody like literally just walks off the court and walks onto some other court and starts playing with them, and then you're all sort of like, well, what do we do now? That sucks. That sucks for those 9 people. And sometimes it ends up working out better. Like that person had a negative attitude, somebody comes in, and I've lost track of the number of times that then we've turned it around and won the game. But like it is not a good experience. And like what we really want is to acknowledge the fact that life happens. And so if I have 2 kids, like sometimes they'll be in the other room and they'll throw up or spill something on the floor, or somebody delivers a package, like that happens. And so if you need to leave every once in a while, it's okay. But like if you're the kind of person, and we saw this a lot, where you were leaving the majority of your matches at some point, like we had people that are like 90+% leaving matches at the end, in the middle, whenever they felt like it. That just creates this like wave of badness for everybody else trying to play the game, right? And so like what I want to do is ensure that people who have that sort of like more selfish take on, well, I can just dip whatever because who cares, like those people end up not being able to do what they want in the same way that they can now. And that the people who actually care and like trying to work through it with their team, who are trying to win, who are like you know just in this game to have fun because they can only play it for an hour a night and they're just home from work or whatever. Like I want them to have a good time, and if people can just dip, that is not allowing them to have a good time. So I feel strongly that we need penalties. I don't think that we're exactly where they need to be. I think that that's going to be something we work on over the course of the next few seasons. But the immediate impact that those changes had was incredible. Like it was a massive change in our reliever rates, and so I think it's just going to be net better for everybody. So I understand the frustration, but like I feel really strongly this is the right way to go. What I hold to with quick play specifically is that a lot of people like creators or like hardcore competitive players, they're like, well, competitive is the game, right? Competitive is Overwatch, and I'm like, it's not. It is quick play is as much the game as competitive. And why I say that, because like more people play quick play than play comp. Like it is the biggest of the queues. Like it is people, it is Overwatch for a huge part of the community. And so I as the EP for the game need to protect that experience for those people who like only view the game through that one lens of like quick play is Overwatch. So people will, I see people be like, why are quick play games so sweaty? And I'm like, because Overwatch is a sweaty game. Overwatch is a competitive, fast paced game, right? Like it's not chill. Like you can play Mystery Heroes and chill out. That's like much more casual. So I tend to view, quick play and competitive both as sort of the core of what Overwatch is, and I view arcade as a more casual sort of like you can be there to goof off and have fun with friends, or you can be there to try out new stuff, or whatever. But this opinion that like quick play is somehow like secondary to competitive is in my mind not right. Like that's not what the game is. The game is quick play and competitive, and they're both they're both like uh, maybe hardcore is not the right way to put it, but they're both pretty intense, and that is what this game is. I think it's just people who care about that sort of like that having that rating applied to themselves, who always want to push it a little bit further. The way that I view it, I'll give you like my personal version of it, which is I care a lot about feeling like I'm getting better at something every single match. Like I've moved from this sort of like extrinsic reward motivation, where, and this is using nerdy game developer terms, but like extrinsic is like something is telling me or validating me for being good. Like I'm getting something from outside of myself for it, versus intrinsic, which is like I am playing the game because I want to feel like I'm getting better every single time, or I am validating myself for like this experience I had, like, oh, my on is getting better, or like, oh, I learned how to do this thing with Reinhardt that I couldn't do before. Like that's the kind of thing that I play quick play for. So comp, I think, is more about like having that thing that is telling you kind of like how good you are compared to where you were, how good you are compared to other people. It gives you something to brag about, and like that has like higher stakes. It's like a higher stakes version of quick play, where quick play is just the game, and it's just you are playing for whatever your reason is. Mine is to feel like I'm getting better. Other people's is to have fun with their friends. It's it just depends. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's like above. It's just the motivation is different. This is not a game that has 40-minute matches. You know what I mean? Like if you're jumping into quick play, the time commitment is pretty short, and so the expectation that I have and that we want players to have is if you're going to play in quick play, like be there for the match. Dip after, that's fine. But like you're committing to these 9 other people to see this thing through, and like the 4 people on your team when you leave are going to be annoyed because they want to win, and now they're down, and that changes the dynamics of the match, and it's not okay. You know.